Hello everyone, as you may have heard about the new release model called DeepSeek, and as you may know, this model is open source to use. In today's video, we'll aim to use this bot in our own local machine and to use it as a chatbot in order to help you in your program. Since DeepSeek released the model to use it freely as an open source, you can basically download it in your own laptop without any subscription or any cloud-based application. Depends on which hardware do you have. You can use different release model of DeepSeek in your local network on your local machine. Before we dive deep into the programming of this bot, let's talk about what could be benefit of having open source community in this area. As you may heard, DeepSeek claims that the hardware that you need in order to use their models would be less demanding than what other competitors they have. So if you have it locally, first you can use it to customize into your workflow, and the local chatbot will give you basically the full control on what environment you have. In case you are interested to have your own environment, for example, in order to avoid your data to be published, or you are concerning about how the data that you chat with the chatbot will be used, this is basically the way that you can use it on your local machine. Especially when the demands of the users are getting higher, you may have also experienced outage on the service that you use. But if you have enough hardware at your home, especially if you have a good graphic card, you can easily use the simple model to use your simple task. If you want to use more complex algorithm, you need to spend some money on your hardware, or you can use the subscription model, which are available in the competitor or even the DeepSeek. But if you want to, for example, use a chatbot for the simple boilerplate codes, or for using the chatbot for the simple tasks for everyday use, that could be beneficial. In my own system, I have RTX 2080 Ti, which is enough to get answer from the chatbot, although based on the model that I use, it will take me around roughly 1 to 5 minutes to get an answer from each query that I have. Let's start with a simple example how you can use this chat. From this point of the video onwards, I will talk about the simple code that you can build your own chatbot. If you're interested to see the final result of the code, this is the timestamp that I put for the video. Feel free to skip ahead to this part of the video and you can see the whole source code, which I will describe in this video. Let's start. First, you need to have your own Python environment ready. The first two libraries that you need to install is Torch and also Transformers. But before you install those libraries, you need to consider it carefully. If you want to run this chatbot over your GPU, you need to install the libraries which will be enable your GPU to run your model. If you want to use PyTorch with your GPU, you need to first install the CUDA related libraries. If you have NVIDIA, in my case I have NVIDIA graphic card, and when you install this library, then you can go to the PyTorch website and choose the CUDA version which you have installed in your library. When you receive this pip command, you can use the exact command to install everything. Then you can use PyTorch also with your graphic card, but this is the first step that you can use. Another point from the PyTorch is that this is basically the library that does all the heavy lifting that you need for the deep learning model that you use from DeepSeek, and the Transformers, which is provided by the Hugging Face, includes all the pre-trained models that you can download and use it locally. When you finish installing the libraries, then you can go to the next step. In the Python program, as you see from the Transformers, we need to import two libraries, basically the tokenizer and the casual element. Then you can specify which model that you want to use. The model name, you can choose the model which you think that would fit your system. You need to be careful what kind of model that you download, because if you have a smaller model, it means that the performance would be limited. But if you download the really complex model, it can be the case that your hardware cannot really process it, and for each query you need to wait a long time. So you need to choose carefully based on what trade-off that you want to achieve. As an example, I put this model, so you can easily copy paste this model. This is not really complex model, but it's enough for this example and for the simple programming task. The next line is the tokenizer and the model. These two steps, they're searching if you have already downloaded the model in your system, but if you don't have it, they will automatically download it from the source, which Transformer will find and download it for you. This step you need to be careful, because this will download the model directly from the website which is correspond to the DeepSeek. So be careful what kind of data it's getting downloaded. And if you are not sure that this data would be safe or not, there are also some APIs that you can use, which means that you will not use it, of course, locally in your PC, but in some third-party API. The next point is that the tokenizer basically converts the text into the numbers, which the model generates the response based on the input that you gave from the tokenizer. This is basically the brain of the system in the code. Now we have the tokenizer and the model downloaded. Then the next step is that how we can send a prompt to our chatbot and how we can get answer out of it. So the class here define exactly the aim that we want. It gives the input of the class is the prompt. The tokenizer first create the input which our model will understand, and then it will feed it to the model. As you see, the max length of the answer from the model is 200. You can split with number, but let's stick with this number for now. The tokenizer then decode the answer that it got from the model, and the response is basically the plain text that we can, as a human, understand. Since you are using the pre-trained network, the function of the chatbot is the complex operation that you have in your program. Since you are using the transformer function, all these beneath calculations and model interpretation are done beneath those lines. And with this code, you basically simplified all those processes. The first prompt that I will send is just to generate me a Python program which returns me a factorial of the number. And this is the output that the chatbot gave me. The next prompt, I actually asked the chatbot if it can describe itself. Although this specific chatbot is designed for asking programming questions, I just wanted to see how it will react. Based on the response that I get from the chatbot, I wanted to share with you what kind of a response I got. It was a bit unexpected, but this is the result.
A few moments later.
Now you know the basics. You can optimize your program based on your own need. You can even design a graphical user interface for your chatbot to make it more like the professional chatbot. But the core that you need is what we learned from this video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions, please don't forget to add your comments and your feedback. And I wish you a good day and good night. Bye.